All right, so I have been working on some designs already and they're still in the works, but I need to start coming up with some kind of prototype so I can start building the dimension sheet for my tech pack. So what I chose to do is cannibalize an old sweatshirt of mine that again was a little boxy around the midsection. And I'm going to show you how I did that and how I'm going to go about creating a prototype so I can start pulling some measurements off of it and creating a spreadsheet for my tech pack. Right now, the final design's not too imperative. I just need something that I can start working with and the design can come a little bit later. So, as I said before in the previous video, I'm a little ahead of myself. I'm backtracking with these videos, but this is a good sweatshirt. I'm not gonna cut this up, but I'm gonna show you what I did. So on all these inner seams, I'm going to start breaking this into pieces and then I'm going to reconstruct it using safety pins and try it a few times, make some adjustments until it fits the way I want it to, and then I'm going to pull measurements and then build that tech pack. So on the inside seams, and we're again still learning, I don't know exactly what these type of seams are called, but see how they kind of fold inwards? I went ahead and total inside all over, I just cut all these and pulled them apart. In a couple areas where that's not going to work, like around the hood, it's not one of those seams you can just cut on the back and separate. So I just went ahead and cut along the top of this seam here. And again, with the sleeves, you cut the cuff off, or the attachment to the shoulder, whatever this is called up here, and then all the length down, and then I cut into the wristband here. And yeah, just go around and doing that. You're gonna have the back piece, you're gonna have the side pieces that wrap around in the front, you're gonna have the sleeves cut open and filleted, and then the hood. So I'm going to set this aside and show you what I did here. I like the hood on this sweatshirt. Again, it's polyester and it's baggy, but I do like the design. I'm not really going to change much for my sweatshirt. So the hood is done. And again, forgive me, I don't know the terms, right? We're learning this as we go. There is the back piece. I have whatever these pieces are called that come around front with the zipper. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to go with the zipper on my first hoodie prototype because I want it to be as functional as possible. And again, with the zipper, it's easy to take on and off. And also you can adjust it as you warm up to regulate how much heat you want to release. And then we've got the sleeves here. And the sleeve here, and you can see why I chose to cannibalize this. I don't really want to wear this to work anymore. It doesn't look very professional. It's got paint on it. So not a big sacrifice. If you guys do not have one that you want to cannibalize, I mean, you can find one like this pretty cheap. I only bought this at Big Five for like 35 bucks. So no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my measuring tape, wherever that is. Here it is. And so with my clothes on, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm just going to get a general idea of what I need here. Because the sweatshirt's going to be over the clothes, so I don't need like an exact waist size. But this is about, I want it to hold tight because the waistband's going to be able to stretch around 37 inches, for the arms here. So that's going to be down here, 37 inches. But that's not what you're going to measure straight across because your torso is circular. So if you pull it to 37 about and you lay it out straight, your measurement straight across is going to be half of that, right? And then when it opens up, that's going to be 37 inches around. I'm going to do the same thing for my arms. I'm going to measure around my bicep, get a good idea of what I want this dimension linearly to be, which is going to be half of the circumference around my bicep. Additionally, I'm going to do that around the wrist. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to make a mark. So let's say I did already measure my bicep around, and it's about, I don't know, 17, let me tilt this camera up, 17, 18 inches. So this will be maybe about 8.5, right? So I'm gonna start putting a safety pin here, and then I'm gonna measure around my wrist just to get a general idea of what that is. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. A little tough. Let's say I want my wrist to be about 7.5 around. So coming down here, 7.5 around. What, that's 3 3/4 about. Oh, that didn't really work out too well. That's going to be right about down there. I'm going to X that. That's messy. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to start putting safety pins just pinched like this. I'm not gonna fold it in. Again, we just want measurements for now, and we're gonna be probably undoing the safety pins and making adjustments. And then again, for the waist, also want to do it just under the arms here. So you might need to have somebody help you out, kind of measure underneath just where your arms attach at the shoulders. And then I'll make my mark. Let's see if you can see this with the camera. Whatever width that is on either side. Come down here, right? And then we'll safety pin along whatever line forms here. And then maybe put the hood back on. I don't know, don't really need it. I think it's okay. And then try it on and see how it works. I'm gonna do that right now, and I'll show you my first prototype here in a second. I figured I'd show you a little bit of my process here real quick. So underneath my arms, around lower part of my chest was about 44 relaxed. So again, when you're measuring just straight across, that would be half of 44, which would be 22, right? Because 22 in the front, then it's coming around the back, 22, right? It's the whole, it's 3-dimensional turned into 2-dimensional. So I measured across here. That is 24 inches on this sweatshirt. So for it to be 22, we go an inch in over here, an inch in over here. I made the little mark. Again, for the measurement of the waist, I forget what this was, but anyways, you get what I'm saying. So on the mark over here, I started with a safety pin on that mark. And I started with a safety pin down here, and then I'm going to trace a line going all the way up, and then I'm going to secure safety pins the whole length down. I'm going to do the same thing over here and essentially translate that same thing with the sleeves, make that line from top to bottom, and then I'll figure out a way to attach them. It's going to be imperfect, but it just has to be enough just to get a general idea when I put it on how it's going to fit if it were all sewed together. All right, I am proud to show off my prototype sweatshirt. As you can see, all the seams are recreated with safety pins. And yeah, I just rebuilt the thing. I showed you guys how I did the measurements, and I followed that line, and I'll show you. It looks like I did not reattach the hood. Oh, the safety pin popping out here. I did not reattach the hood. A, because it's a little complicated, and B, one of the diagrams that I'm going to use has the hood detached. And so it might be easier for me to get general measurements for the hood leaving it off. And I am okay with that. And I am proud to say that this thing fits pretty much exactly how I want it to. So it's a little hard to see it through the flaps here. Oh, the screen's going away. But it's nice and tight around the waist. You guys see that? It's tight around the waist. I've got a little bit of space up here, so that kind of sits baggy and that accentuates the form. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And also too, took some dimension off the arms. So now, I can show off my sweet biceps, not really. But it's nice and taut. There's a little bit of space there too, and with the stretch of any fabric, you know, the bulkier one may get. I'm probably gonna be wearing a large. You know, I think the better it's gonna look. So I'm pretty happy with this. You know, I'm about 6'1" and a half, and my arm span, believe it or not, is like 6'5". So right now, I don't know if you guys, let me pick up the camera here, going up, you can see this reaching up. It's just long enough, but it's kind of taut. So I'm gonna add in my measurements probably an extra inch onto the large, which is my prototype that I'm going off of, onto the sleeves. And then also down here on the waist, again, I keep messing with this camera. I'm setting up in front of the mirror here, so I don't have one of those cool GoPros that has the screen facing me. So reaching all the way up, you can see the sweatshirt comes up a little further than I want it to. So I think just an extra inch would maintain that coverage down here, covering the belt, while not being too low in a relaxed state. And also too, my torso is, I don't know, for my height, most of my height's in my legs. My torso is maybe like average, be that of like a 5'10" person, if I were normally proportioned. So I think that's gonna work really well. So just an extra inch on the sleeves, an extra inch down here, then everything else, I think I'm set. I think I'm gonna roll with this. And then so next we're gonna go plug this into a spreadsheet that I will have created, have not yet, on either OpenOffice Sheets or Google Sheets. And then I'll plug the measurements in. And also too, with the hood, I guess I should show you guys here. It's gonna stay nice and baggy. And with the rest of it being form-fitting, I think that's gonna look, I'm looking at myself in the mirror here, I think that's gonna look pretty good. Everything's gonna work out. So I'm gonna keep the measurements for this hoodie, keep the measurements around the collar, and then just do the new measurements. And like I already said, go plug that into the spreadsheet.